Stanford, 12:30 Saturday.
Now, KIRO Eyewitness News, the news specialist. With John Marler, Susan Hutchison, Wayne Cody Sports, Harry Wappler Weather. Live from the newsroom in Seattle, KIRO Eyewitness News Update.
Good evening. A poll may be just a poll, but the latest one put together by CBS and the New York Times gives Vice President George Bush the edge in last night's vice presidential debate. CBS and the New York Times have been keeping tabs on a cross-section of Americans during this year's campaign. Last night, after the debate, 790 of those voters were called for their opinion. 47% said Bush won the debate, while only 31% said Geraldine Ferraro did. That's a 16-point spread. The poll indicates both Democrat and Republican voters thought better of their candidates after the debate. The polls give Mr. Bush something to brag about, and he certainly took advantage of it in New Jersey today. If you didn't hear that, I'm not going to tell you what he said, but later the vice president shrugged it off, saying his remark is an old Texas football expression to assess his victory. President Reagan is waging aggressive campaigns through rural Ohio, saying he'll keep slugging away at Walter Mondale until Election Day. Today, the president retraced the route of Harry Truman's historic whistle-stop campaign of 1948 using the Ferdinand Magellan, the same campaign car used by Truman, Franklin Roosevelt, and Dwight Eisenhower.
The Democratic Party apparently does not think much of Republicans invoking an old Democratic custom or the names of Truman and Roosevelt. Today in Wisconsin, Walter Mondale told a huge crowd of supporters what he thinks about the president's train.
Today, Mr. Reagan is pulling a stunt that will be called and remembered as the Great Train Robbery.
Walter Mondale says President Reagan is on the right train, but the wrong track. Some Republicans, though, say Democrats are just mad they didn't think of it first. Here in Seattle, Republicans are gloating a bit. Tonight, the annual Republican Fall Dinner was held, and the talk was about the election. And, of course, how could the talk not be about last night's vice presidential debate? David Curley was at that Republican Fall Dinner tonight, and he joins us now to tell us the story of Republicans gathering here in the Seattle area. David?
Well, John, it isn't too surprising that the more than 500 Republicans attending tonight's affair say that George Bush was the clear winner of the debate, and the mood at that party was very upbeat this evening. Most of the Republican candidates for statewide office were at the party, as well as congressional candidates here in the state of Washington. They were amused by the keynote speaker, William Ruckelshaus, a former Weyerhaeuser executive and current administrator of the Environmental Protection Agency. We had a chance to talk to Mr. Ruckelshaus after the speech. I asked him if President Reagan was reelected, would he serve another term in the Reagan administration? He said he's told the president that he will wait until after the election to make any kind of decision as to whether or not he will stay with the administration. On environmental problems in the Puget Sound area, Ruckelshaus says he feels that the problems were caught in time and they are manageable. John?
Thank you, David. Susan?
There's more disagreement tonight about what killed a gray whale near Port Angeles this summer. It washed up on a beach in June. At first, pollution was blamed, with the deadly chemical PCP the most likely cause. But today, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration disagreed with that theory. NOAA says it still doesn't know exactly how the whale died, but that it looks like natural causes.
Impact also manpower intensive, population dynamics. Be able to understand. The fact that the animal hasn't fed for 3 days, to me, could also be explained by being a calf separated from its mother and being in an area where really, A, it hasn't learned to feed very effectively, and 2, where the right kind of bottom on which it feeds really doesn't exist.
21 of 28 dead whales found along the Washington coast and Puget Sound beaches have all been young calves. John?
A crippled grain ship is resting high and dry tonight along the Seattle waterfront. The Golden Phoenix had been taking on water since Wednesday night, but today workers got the upper hand on the problem and got all of the water pumped out of the ship. Their quick work saved 75,000 tons of grain. The Coast Guard tonight is blaming the problem on a loose valve in the ship's hold.
Still to come on Eyewitness News, a long and bloody trail comes to an end tonight for one of America's most notorious criminals.
And a TV actor is seriously injured in a bizarre shooting accident. Plus, a spectacular fire closes a highway in Oregon.
Mark DiDomenico, Vice President, Golden Grain Mission.
Introducing new Mission Light pasta. Mission Light has 1/3 less calories per serving than our regular pasta. Now you can enjoy a complete serving of light spaghetti with sauce at 276 calories, or a light chicken salad with only 124 calories. And our Mission Light recipes are on the back of every Mission Light package. Mission Light, new, from my family to yours.
October sale. October sale. October sale. Whatever you have planned this weekend, plan on this. Frederick & Nelson's Night into Day sale. With special store hours. Friday, shop till 9 p.m. Saturday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Save to 60% store-wide. Make your plans and be there. Friday till 9 p.m. Saturday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Save to 60%. Our Night into Day sale at Frederick & Nelson.
The Good Neighbor tradition is still carried on at your friendly Good Neighbor pharmacy. You'll find professionals concerned about your health care needs, plus values like this.
Oscal, at your age? Doctors recommend it because without enough calcium in your diet, your bones could just.
Oscal, your body needs it.
Oscal is on special right now at a Good Neighbor pharmacy near you.
Good Neighbor Pharmacy.
The biggest sale of the year on new 1985 Escorts with front-wheel drive and diesel engines is going on now at Harris Ford. The new 1985 diesel Escort gets 52 miles per gallon, and it's yours for only $69.95 or $149 per month. Imagine $69.95 or $149 per month, including these options, and there's 50 of these mileage makers to choose from. Plus, Harris Ford needs your trades. Don't miss the biggest 1985 Escort sale of the year, including diesel engines at Harris Ford in Linwood.
The man who organized the largest death row breakout in U.S. history is dead tonight. Convicted murderer Linwood Briley was executed in Virginia. He was put to death in the electric chair shortly after 8 o'clock this evening, our time. Briley was given the death penalty for the murder of a Richmond disc jockey. He had been convicted of 7 murders. An appeal by Briley's attorney today didn't convince Virginia's governor to grant clemency. The execution is Virginia's second since 1962.
A 26-year-old television actor is in surgery at this hour in Los Angeles after accidentally shooting himself in the head. He's John Eric Hexum, who stars in the CBS series Cover Up. He was filming one of the episodes when it happened. He apparently fired a gun loaded with blanks into his right temple. Hexum plays a male model and high-fashion photographer in that CBS series. Firemen tonight are combing the rubble of the Grand Hotel in Brighton, England. They're searching for the 4th victim of last night's Irish Republican Army bombing. 4 people died, 34 were injured when a bomb ripped through the hotel, seriously injuring one of Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher's top aides. The explosion happened just minutes after the Prime Minister left the bathroom of her suite, a room that was destroyed in the blast. Thatcher was not hurt. The Conservative Party conference underway at the hotel continued on schedule today, with Thatcher denouncing the IRA for killing innocent people.
In the Northwest, a spectacular gasoline tanker fire tonight near Portland. It happened during rush hour, completely closing Highway 30. Police say a car was rear-ended and slammed into the tanker, shearing it in two. The tanker exploded minutes later, destroying a nearby tavern. The drivers did manage to escape before the tanker blew. No one was seriously injured. It was carrying 5,000 gallons of gasoline, and firefighters let the tanker burn itself out. As the weather gets colder, most of us will be spending more time at home indoors, but thousands of people don't have homes to go to. Anita Williamson reports on an effort tonight to do something about that.
They came to this conference from all parts of the state: shelter providers, church organizations, community leaders, people who try to meet the needs of the homeless in their area. Their purpose is to try to establish a shelter network that will make it easier to provide services where they're needed.
We're talking about changing systems. We're talking about having better public assistance, having more low-income housing, having more funds for mental health and mental health housing. We're talking about long-term changes so people won't have to be homeless anymore.
A lot of attention is being focused on Seattle's homeless. About 1,000 shelter beds are available, but that leaves more than 1,000 people out on the streets. Mayor Royer acknowledged the need for more assistance, and he says this conference is a step in that direction.
The purpose of this meeting tonight, and the beauty of this session tonight, is that there are people from all over the state here who can help us in the legislature as we ask some help from the state, not just in Seattle, but in Tacoma and Spokane and other places where homeless people congregate.
And several recommendations were made at this conference, such as more low-cost rental opportunities and rent and mortgage assistance to forestall evictions. But most of all, they want the state to use its power to assist the localities.
They made it a point at this conference to stress the fact that homelessness is not just a problem in Seattle, but all across Washington. And they say tonight is just the first step in bringing organizations together to pool their energies and work on a real solution to this problem. In Seattle, Anita Williamson, KIRO Eyewitness News.
Hunting season is going to open at first light tomorrow. However, there are 9 square miles of prime territory in Thurston County that will be off limits to hunters. That's because search and rescue teams are combing the dense woods looking for a missing mushroom picker. 51-year-old Carl Dalebout has been missing in Capitol Forest since Wednesday morning. Searchers say they are optimistic because Dalebout is wearing warm clothing and has matches and a knife with him. There was one less football game tonight in Seattle's Metro AA League. The game between Seattle Prep and Rainier Beach was postponed until tomorrow, canceled because of a problem at West Seattle Stadium. The light poles are apparently unstable and threatening to topple. The Parks Department tonight blames the problem on high winds and says the field will be closed indefinitely. That means all of tomorrow's football games at the stadium will have to be rescheduled as well.
And we'll...
I don't mean to interrupt you, but tonight's game that was canceled from that stadium goes at 3:30 tomorrow at Memorial Stadium.
Great.
I just wanted to insert that. I didn't mean to shock you both.
That's great.
Okay, now do you want to say here's Wayne with the sports?
Nah, go ahead.
Come on.
I was going to say we want to know more about that win, but we'll wait a few more minutes and see Harry Wappler shortly.
Oh, I thought you were looking at me saying that I was a big wind or something. Well, anyway, I'll have baseball for you. We'll talk football. We'll talk basketball. All the really important sports is coming up.
The new 16-valve intercooled Saab turbo. It's the most powerful Saab ever built. In some cars, this much power might seem somewhat irresponsible. In this car, however, it couldn't be more practical.
See your Puget Sound Saab dealer. More and more people
Are you reading sports?
are looking forward to
May I
Sunday.
read your parade?
It's the one day of the week
Oh, may I have your Northwest?
when the Seattle Times and Seattle PI get together.
Who said crossword puzzle?
Sunday has 2 editorial sections and more comics, plus more features, news, and entertainment.
That's mine.
Call 464-2121 to subscribe. It has something for everyone.
Sears National Hardware Sale. Save $7 on Easy Living matte flat paint. Now $8.97 a gallon. They are lowest price of the year for a half-horsepower garage door opener. And save on these Sears Best lavatory and kitchen faucets. Now half price, just $29.99. You'll find more tough hardware at hard-to-beat prices right now at the National Hardware Sale.
There's more for your life at Sears.
Bill Hazlett Chevrolet in Kent makes owning a new Chevy easy by offering special leasing prices on every new Chevy in stock. Drive away this new Camaro for only $182 a month and less than $600 cash or trade. Or this beautiful Celebrity for only $177 a month. Or this sporty S10 pickup for only $121 a month. Bill Hazlett Chevrolet has the car you've been waiting for a monthly payment you can't afford. It's the biggest leasing event in Bill Hazlett Chevrolet's history in Kent, just off the freeway at 619 North Washington.
Anders 2 for sale is on now.
Suits, coats, shirts, and ties. The Anders guys. The Anders guys get all the best buys.
Those Detroit Tigers have taken a 2-1 lead in the best-of-7 World Series. They won Game 3 tonight in Detroit, the final 5-2 over San Diego. Take a look. Second inning, Chet Lemon aboard. Marty Castillo rips this Tim Lawler pitch into the left field bleachers. The Tigers take a 2-0 lead there. Later in the inning, with Lou Whitaker on second, Alan Trammell lines this double into left field. Whitaker will race in, just beating the throw at the plate. Nice slide. Watch it play coming up at the plate. Does he get in? Safe he is. The game became really 4-0 and over with when Greg Booker, a Padre reliever, walks Larry Herndon with the bases loaded. The Tigers lead 4-0. They go on to win it 5-2. 5-7-0 for Detroit. and 2-10-0 for San Diego. Wilcox the winner, Lawler the loser in that game. And, of course, Game 4 is tomorrow. You can hear it in the morning on KIRO News Radio 71. Well, the Huskies are all set to go for their second Pac-10 game of the year. They worked out today at Stanford Stadium at Palo Alto, preparing for the Cardinal tomorrow. And our own Ron Callan is with the team, and he attended today's Husky practice.
A gorgeous day down on the farm. The Huskies held their final workout for the Stanford game under clear skies, 75-degree temperatures. The talk here in the Bay Area about the Washington Husky defense, ranked #1 in the nation. Jim Lambright knows all about the country's top defense.
Well, I'm very proud of the way the defense has played in the first 5 games, and that's what you work for. And if it would help us statistically win this game, it would be that much better. But you're certainly very pleased as a coordinator that the stat is there and that your kids are playing that well. I think #1, the balance of really fine athletes that can make big plays is the first thing that makes them stand out head and shoulders above the rest. And then you combine that with great toughness, excellent leadership from our captains, and a balance of leaders in each position and big play players in each position. We're not hurting in any one of the major spots, the defensive line, linebacker, secondary, as far as leadership goes.
A crowd of about 50,000 is expected here tomorrow at Stanford Stadium, with the Huskies an 8-point favorite. In Palo Alto, Ron Callan, KIRO Eyewitness Sports.
Cardinal are tough. They upset the Huskies a couple of years ago. Look out, Huskies, though, I think will win it. Stanford Huskies, you'll see it right here, Channel 7 tomorrow at 12:30. I'll be watching. I hope you will be, too. Nothing new from the Hawks today. They quietly prepare to meet the Buffalo Bills Sunday at the Kingdome. If you're going to the game on Sunday, take a book. I mean, take a book or a magazine. You'll need something to read to stay awake. It's going to be easy for the Hawks. I like 28-0, or maybe Buffalo will score in the last few seconds to make it something like 28-7. High school football tonight, a lot of it, barring all the lights blowing down. Here's some of the scores we have. Snohomish, #1 ranked in our state and 14th in the country by USA Today. They barely got by Mariner, 18-15. That's not the Mariners, that's Mariner High School. Cascade over Marysville, 38-0. You think that's awful. Wait till I show you another score in a minute. Oak Harbor beat Everett Squeaker 9-7. That could have been a safety of 3 field goals. I don't know. Lake Washington, they knocked off Newport. The final there was 13-7. Mercer Island loses to Woodinville, 21-12. Look at Blanchette and Ballard, if that's the true score. 68-zip. Ooh. Garfield beat Franklin 28-0. O'Day shut out Cleveland 25-0. And Kent Ridge Lindbergh, a squeaker. Kent Ridge wins that one 7-0. Those Supersonics will play another exhibition game, and they will do that tomorrow night. They're in Colorado Springs to take on the Denver Nuggets. Then they return quickly to Seattle for a Sunday evening game at the Seattle Center, and they will take on the Portland Trail Blazers. The Sunday game will tip off, by the way, at 7 p.m. if you want to go and see the new addition of the Sonics. Hubert Green leads the Southern Open by only 1 stroke. Remember, he hasn't won a PGA event in 3 years. That's all the sports on a Friday night. Fit to tell. A lot of weekend sports coming up, and I'll be dealing with it. Gary Spinell will report all weekend, and I'll be back on Monday.
And some big scores in high school football.
Yeah, 68-0.
That's pretty heavy.
Nothing's got to get it fixed. Oh, really?
Thanks, Wayne.
Sure.
Harry Wappler's going to come up next. He's got a live report on this weekend weather ahead of us.
And then we'll tell you what the Space Shuttle astronauts are up to tonight.
Nothing sheds rain with more color. Nothing sheds rain with more style. Nothing sheds rain like a shed rain.
Now at Frederick and Nelson.
I used to eat at Gary Needham's house all the time, but now I come to Stevie Mo's because I like his hot dogs better. They're Eckert's Lean Supreme. Steve's mom says Mr. Eckert's chops off a lot of fat, so there's more lean. I don't know what lean means. Steve says it's from Indiana. I don't know where Indiana is. All I know is that they taste so good that now Gary Needham comes over to Stevie Mo's too.
Less fat, great taste.
Lean Supreme.
Pacific West Sport and Racket Clubs has an exceptional offer for you. 30 days of swimming, saunas, steam rooms, complete Nautilus circuits, plus racquetball or indoor tennis. 30 days for only $30. Plus, Pacific West will give you 6 visits to their UVA suntan beds free. Pacific West in Tacoma, Puyallup, Federal Way, Kent, Kirkland, Linwood, and coming soon to Olympia. Pacific West, the family club.
Some beef.
I'll drive.
Could you?
Introducing the 505 Turbo from Peugeot. The Peugeot Turbo, performance in a new perspective.
We've just received word that 4 people are dead tonight after a shooting in Los Angeles. Police in L.A. say the incident happened in a downtown neighborhood. A car drove up to a house and someone inside the car opened fire, shooting at people at a party. 4 people were killed, 6 were wounded. Apparently a shotgun was used. One of the injured was an 11-year-old girl, and police say the shooting involved 2 rival youth gangs. Right now, no one is in custody.
7 American astronauts are sleeping tonight after completing one of the most ambitious space shuttle missions yet. They spent today stowing gear and packing away the shuttle's robot arm. That's in preparation for a landing tomorrow at Cape Canaveral, where the mission began 8 days ago. Touchdown, incidentally, is scheduled for 9:26 Seattle time tomorrow morning. Forecasters say the weather at the Cape is going to be almost perfect.
Well, it's not almost perfect here. Harry Wappler is standing by, I believe, on top of Broadcast House to tell us what the wind is like.
Susan, the wind up here, I'd estimate right now by the old reliable method here, it's coming from the south, and I think we're getting to about 20-25 miles per hour for steady speeds. There will be some higher gusts. We had some winds today that were very strong around the Strait of Juan de Fuca, gusting west of Port Angeles to 70 miles per hour this morning. That was when storm warnings were in effect along the strait. We've had reports of some scattered power outages tonight, but the winds haven't been of sufficient force in most areas to do anything other than cause most people to sort of hang onto their hats. And I'm happy to report that this is about the peak. We're on the way down now, and I think we'll see some improvement tomorrow. But there are also some thunder showers being reported currently at the coast. Let's look at our observation as SeaTac Airport taken just moments ago. And you see 50 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 10 Celsius, 80% relative humidity. The wind is south at a steady speed of 17, but gusting to 26, about the same winds that we're experiencing here at Broadcast House, and the barometer rising at 29.89. Now, back to me, and then we're going to take a look at our satellite photograph because we have a nice picture to show you of this big storm that's out there in the Pacific. And there you see it, and that low is moving inland and filling. A little diagram on there will help us to understand it better. See the low with the L? That is moving inland to the upper right of the screen, and then there's cold air coming down behind it with some showers around the southern perimeter. That's all circulating over the area tonight. And the cold air, which will make things tomorrow night even chillier than tonight, has lowered our snow levels to about 4,500 feet. And with winds still gusting through the Cascade Passes, the National Weather Service has a traveler's advisory for the higher Cascade Passes such as Stevens, Cayuse, and Chinook for snow and blowing snow tonight. That situation will be alleviated a bit tomorrow, but snow showers are still possible this weekend on our higher passes. Here's a look at our forecast for tonight in the Seattle area. Showers